There we go.
I'm trying to see if it's up on YouTube. There we go.
It's up on X. X.
That's where we're going to be getting all the views. What's going on, guys?
Try to open up this chat here. Well, I see like I get a studio chat, but live stream chat. And I have no gauge on like.
Pat, you look like just the most. You look like the most Mets fan I've ever seen in my life. Like
Maybe
if I were to generate a Mets fan, it'd be you.
I mean, they need it right now. They need a real Mets fan right now because I mean they're up 4-0 right now, thank God. But they're dead, dude.
I don't like commenting on baseball because it pisses off half the people that follow me.
You have one lane. It's the Jets.
Dude, because if I go in any other lane, everybody just... Bro, I like chirped like Aaron Rodgers today. Or I didn't chirp him. I just called him like immature. And like a shit ton of Steelers got in my replies. I had to like mute the post. They were saying I was self-conscious. I'm like, dude, it's not me, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
Pat, do you have it pulled up? I'm curious if you could just comment and
yeah, I do
on YouTube and just see what happens if it pops up on Riverside.
I can monitor the chat.
All right.
Is there a chat?
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Yeah, just see that's the dumb. Oh no, it popped up.
There we go.
It popped up. All right.
Let's get started. Screw it. We have 40 people on Twitter.
Sure. So if you guys don't know, we're Vultures Row Podcast over on the Badlands TOJ feed every other week, but this is our off week, so we wanted to come on and do a little live stream and kind of keep our picks even because, well, we don't want uneven picks if we're doing it every other week. So we're going to get into some Jets-Bills preview because Jets is our bread and butter, and then we're going to get into some Jets props, Jets bets, NFL picks and bets. But I think we want to do Packers Commanders first half bets, see if we can hit
Just
on
one
something.
each, right?
One each. What are we thinking? Anyone can start.
I'm going Packers. I'm going to go Packers over 13.5 in the first half. I don't have any analytics like I do with all my other picks. This one's actually just going off pure bet here. Just riding a feeling because we decided that 5 minutes ago, but screw it. I think they're going to score some points tonight.
Welcome to my world, Pat. Can you just give me some of the lines? I can't pull it up on my phone.
It's 2.5. The first half is minus 2.5 for the Packers. The total points for the Packers is 13.5. Like I just said, the Commanders' total points is 10.5.
All right, I'll take Packers minus 2.5. I love the Packers this year, dude. I think they're nasty. Jordan Love, I've always been a big fan of his. I had to pretend to not like him when we were in that weird Twitter battle with Packers fans when we were trying to get Aaron Rodgers. No, he's a very good quarterback. Micah Parsons is only going to get better, and I think we're going to see that tonight.
I like
Packers minus 2.5.
Each team to score 1+ touchdown. Oh well, that's in each half. Never mind, I kind of screwed myself there.
Fries in the bag, buddy.
I guess so. I just totally screwed that up. I like. I'll take Commanders plus 2.5 in the first half. I like the Commanders tonight to cover. I think it's gonna be a really close game. I don't know. Pat said pre-show that Packers are gonna smack them around. I think Washington's a really good team, so I like them plus 2.5. Even though that wasn't my original pick, I thought I like each team to score 1+ touchdown in each half. So
just so everyone knows where we're at going into our records this week, right? Tony's leading us. Tony's leading at 8-4. I'm 6-6, and Joey's 3-7. However, Tony was in our best bets. We were 2-1. Joey and I. Tony was 3-0. So we do have something to trend with here as we're going into week 2.
And then it was a clean sweep on the Jets props last week that I put
Yes.
out. So
That's
we all
right.
had our best Jets props that we went clean sweep. I think by the second quarter, I know Pat texted me while he was at the game, maybe a little inebriated, that Braylon Allen was his touchdown pick, which it kind of was. We both had it, but he took it off so kindly. So I got blessed and
Threw you a
got
bone.
that. Yeah, he threw me a bone.
Clearly the 1 yard he got in the game too. So
If you are viewing, seriously, like it's I guess this is kind of like a live podcast, but if you want to interrupt and chat in, we'll acknowledge it pretty quickly. So I think that's where we're at with that. But I think I'm ready to jump.
Where are the chat boxes?
Chat box is on our right here.
This is. I can't see it. Whatever.
Pat sent a test on the right. So if you're YouTube, Twitter, you could comment. I'll kind of stay on Twitter too, just to see if anyone goes in underneath the actual live. But I think we should start it off talking Jets Bills. This is a pretty big game. I think, before you hopped on, Tony, Pat and I were talking like, how's this team going to respond after a loss like last week, where kind of an unconventional loss, right? Like, and Tony comments, why is Tony so handsome? Like, I'm like, who is commenting this? So typically in the past, like we see Jets teams just lay down after a loss like this. How are they going to respond? I don't want to see like a 40-10 game. Like, well, let's keep the scoring going. You guys were both at the game. Me and Tony are going to the game this week. When you guys were there, what were some of the key things that you saw from last week offensively that maybe someone watching on TV wouldn't have quite saw?
I thought obviously the O-line was like the big thing for me. I mean, Brees looked, again, I've been a big Brees hater all offseason. He really looked like 2022 Brees.
You think Barry Sanders, dude, he's unbelievable.
And he was like really, obviously he broke off a couple big ones, but like he really like was just getting like 8 yards every time almost, it felt like. And I really appreciated that Aaron Glenn didn't try to get the committee going too much. Like I think he realized early on that Brees was just running hot and stuck with it. And honestly, like I don't think it's being talked about enough, but like Justin Fields a great pass protection. Like he just had clean pockets. It's probably the cleanest pocket he's ever had in his career in the NFL. I'm really curious to see how they build on it because last week was really just all superstars, kind of like our stars for that matter. And I don't think that's going to work forever. Right now, they have some tape on the board. Who's going to get involved this week? I mean, if you want to get into Jets offense versus Bills defense, or you want to.
I'm sorry. No, I was reading something. Tony, if you wanted to go too, we can
talk about the stadium, Tony.
Well, dude, I thought you could definitely tell the difference between Aaron Glenn and Rob Saleh. Like, there are a few moments where I noticed, dude, he'll like grill the players, like the entire bench. I just never saw Saleh do that, especially towards like the end of his kind of tenure when it seemed like he checked out a little bit. The coaching staff as a whole just seemed a lot more engaged, right? You go from Todd Bowles to Adam Gase to Rob Saleh and all these guys, dude. And you could see this on TV too, right? Like you don't need to be at the game. It would pan to them and they would be sitting there like this, right? Every single time they would just be sitting there like this. Aaron Glenn's not that type of guy, which I like. And this is just stuff that we see like in game, right? You can only imagine how much more fire he is like behind the scenes. So I don't think like this, that's one of the things that pissed me off most about Rob Saleh is they would come out flat. Even if they won a game, they would come out flat and lay over. So this is a big test, right? I mean, we're learning a lot about him on the fly, and that goes for the whole coaching staff too. I mean, Engstrand looked freaking awesome in the debut. And it was interesting to see, especially from where Pat and I are sitting, you can really like see what's going on the sideline, which is cool. But yeah, it's a much more engaged coaching staff. I think they're going to come out. I think they're going to want to like, come out and fucking hit people. And that's honestly what I think the mentality of this team is. It's just a matter of the role players picking it up a little bit, and guys like Jamie and Sherwood, he had a bad game, and others like picking up for some of the slack that Stevens and Tony Adams might be causing. So overall, I'm expecting them to come out firing again.
That's the hope. If you're just joining in, Vultures Row podcast over on the Badlands TOJ feed, we're doing a live show tonight. if you have any comments as to what we're talking about, hit them up in the comment section and we will answer right away. The plan for tonight, we're going to jump into some Jets Bills right now, do some Jets bets, picks, props, bets, NFL gambling as well. So let's go over Jets Bills here. Let's start with you, Pat. Let's do Jets defense. I think we started Jets offense last week. We do Jets defense versus the Bills offense. What are some of the key points that you're looking at here when you're kind of analyzing this matchup?
Pretty simply put to me, like the Jets just have to win the turnover battle on defense this week to have a shot to, a shot to win, right? The narrative has to change. Like they're allergic to turnovers, and like that just proved week one again. Like obviously with the Stevens drop, like with Michael Carter dropping one. And while Josh Allen is arguably the best quarterback in the league, right? He is prone to throw. He's prone to turnover worthy play every once in a while. He's going to give you one. You just have to catch the fucking ball, right? So can you just finally catch an interception and win the turnover battle in a game? And, again, I think, look, he's Josh Allen. He's going to get his, right? So you just have to take when he gives you that play, you have to take it. And I think they're going to have to contain him, right? Make sure he doesn't rip off the backyard plays too much, right? Like don't rip off the 40-yard run. That's unnecessary. It's going to be really hard for them to do because they're going to want to just, bull rush him and hit him, right? And try and set the tone. But for me, like, I'm not really worried about, like, the receivers. Their run defense should be able to hold up James Cook well enough. It really just comes down to me, like, you have to make the key play when it's given to you. And, like, we saw last week that when they didn't, it cost them the games, right? Forget the Xavier Gibson thing aside, right? Strictly offense versus defense. Like defensively, when the play is there, you have to capitalize on it. That's really the key to all these games now, especially if they're going to win games that, they are on paper not supposed to win.
It's kind of funny, like going back to last week and when we were talking about the Jets defense, I think my last point was I'm not worried about the linebackers. Ultimately, last week, like, I don't think Sherwood looked all that good. Quincy had the late hit, which again, turning point in the game. So I need to see those guys kind of be more of themselves. Sherwood just kind of looked a little bit slow. I think someone had mentioned it to you, Tony. Like they just didn't look like the fast, safe two linebackers that we previously had. Maybe it's them adjusting to a new defensive scheme or whatnot. I think Pat mentioned it, and probably all three of us are going to say, I think you've got to turn the ball over. I mentioned to Pat pre-show, like, when I went to the home opener in 2019, that CJ Mosley game where he picked off Allen, like there was a bunch of fumbles in the first half. Like if you even want to have a chance, I know they lost that game, but if you want to have a chance to beat the Bills, you need to turn the ball over and not try to, you could hit Josh Allen, but you can't overcommit because you're going to get burned. And it's going to be one of those days where you let up 70, 80 yards rushing from Josh Allen and you're probably not winning that game. So like you said, Pat, he's going to throw you one. Can you catch it? Like, can Stevens not fall over every time? Like we need to see better play from the safeties. The safeties were atrocious last week. The whole secondary, quite frankly, outside of Sauce Gardner was. So in this game, it's about applying pressure. It's not, you can't lose contain though. You got to contain this guy because if not, he's going to kill you in more ways than one. Tony, do you have anything else different than that you're looking for on the defense?
Yeah,
we left you nothing.
I was going to say the linebackers are the key, like cogs to beating. Yeah, outperforming the Bills offense to the best of your ability. They're going to get their points. I don't think our defense is, like a top 3 defense in the NFL by any means. But if you're going to try and stop Josh Allen, the first thing you got to do is take away his legs. And having these fast linebackers is exactly the formula to do that, right? You got these guys that can go sideline to sideline. And there's a reason we paid Jamie and Sherwood so much money. And there's a reason we might pay Quincy Williams a lot of money. It's because they have that ability. And it happens, that one of the quarterbacks in our division is one of the most dangerous runners in the NFL at that position. So I think it's going to come down to them. And I think Jermaine Johnson, the original reason we drafted Jermaine, he's an outside linebacker, athletic enough to, basically not have Michael Clemens get fucking juked out by the Bills run game every day. Like we saw that last year. That's why we were missing Jermaine so much. So having him back and how he looked last week, that was a huge thing, right? I mean, he looked like extremely He looked a lot better than I thought he would. He's definitely not 100%, but I mean, dude, he's an absolute dog, and it doesn't seem like the Achilles over time is going to slow him down too much. So Sherwood, Quincy, and Jermaine Johnson, those are my three keys to containing Josh Allen. I don't know. Like, obviously, yeah, I could sit here and say, oh, Brandon Stevens has to play better. Oh, Tony Adams has to play better. I don't know if they are. And, it might just be something that we have to deal with because Brandon Stevens and Tony Adams have not proved to me at any point during the NFL career that they're better than what they're showing right now. So at this point, it's kind of etched in my mind, right? I don't care that Brandon Stevens had a good camp. He was that player on the field with the Ravens last year. So until they show me otherwise, I'm not going to get up here and say these are the guys that need to perform better. It's going to be our mid to upper tier non-star players that are going to be kind of like how we have to beat them defensively.
It is crazy to think that if you ask any Jet fan, say that the offense scored 32 points, he would have said we won the game. They gave up 34, which is they covered the spread though. We all had them covering, which is nice. So 1-0 there. But now let's flip it to the offensive side, which is like this is where we all get thrown for a whirlwind, and especially after watching Bills Ravens last Sunday night, like insane comeback by Buffalo. In the same light though, we saw Lamar and Derrick Henry and that whole offense absolutely tear their defense. What are you laughing at? What is so funny?
Oh, not you.
All right. So you saw on Sunday night them just absolutely tear up that defense. And as I'm sitting there watching it and watching them come back, I'm like, damn it. At the same time, I'm like, this is going to be huge for us because I saw some of the holes that they were opening up against Pittsburgh. A good defense with a ton of tough veterans. And now you look at this defense, and they might be without Deion Dawkins now. Or not Deion Dawkins. What's his name?
Ed Oliver.
Ed Oliver. Just totally blanked on his name. Deion Dawkins also lives in my head rent-free, by the way.
I hate him. He's fat guy.
Anyways, with that being said, the most surprising offensive Jets performance I think I've ever seen as a fan in my, however many years, 20 years watching. What do we think are the keys on this side of the ball facing their defense, Tony?
You said it, dude. Ed Oliver being out is ginormous. And if we're gonna beat them,
I don't know if he is.
He's in a boot. Like it's the whole nine. I don't think it's just like he was sat out of.
Jump ahead, bro, dude.
All right.
Yeah, he'll suit up Sunday. And a surprise, Ed Oliver is actually suiting up.
Well, regardless, he's going to be slowed down, dude. Their run defense looked very, very shaky against the Ravens. We all saw it. It was put on a fucking pedestal for us. And it's like you don't really have to think too hard as to how you're going to beat the Bills, right? You just have to run the ball and control the line of scrimmage on offense. And this is going to sound like the same for a lot of these teams, right? It's great. You can play the matchup. At the end of the day, dude, we have one receiver. Who are the Bills cornerbacks? Who's like their number one guy? Who's going to probably be on Garrett Wilson? Anybody?
You're asking me?
One of
probably
you?
Be, well, I don't even know off the top of my head, to be honest.
Benford.
Maxwell Harrison?
It's Christian Benford.
They brought back
Maxwell Harrison, isn't it? The corner they drafted last year?
No, but Benford's I think they're number one. Then that kid.
They brought back Tre'Davious White too.
Yeah, he's trash though.
But at this point, I don't really know how old.
I think Benford will be on Garrett Wilson. But again, guys, it goes back to the run game. You're gonna have to have big games from the offensive line once again. Who, God, dude, it was like it made me feel a certain type of way watching some of the holes that they were opening, and then even when they weren't, Breece, dude, was turning 3-yard losses into 2-yard gains like all day. So if you have a day like that from Breece, and hopefully Braylon Allen like picks it up a little bit, he has yet to really impress me in a game situation, which, it's great, dude. You can look like a creative player on social media, but I need to see something in a game. He had the touchdown, yes. And I think he has like his purpose, which is like goal line situations. But I need to see like a little more from him before like, oh, let's, whatever, different conversation. But it all starts at the line of scrimmage. That's it. I think Justin Fields is going to have a better day passing than we expect. And you're going to see that in my bets. I think he's going to pass the ball more than we think. But at the end of the day, if you're going to move the ball down the field, it's going to be on the ground.
Pat?
Yeah, look, it was the Ravens last week, but the Bills defense looked really vulnerable, right? I mean, both in the pass defense and the run defense. And yeah, like it was Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, but we kind of have like the JV version of that, right? In Justin Fields and Breece Hall, the poor man's version of them, but it's still really effective. I mean, we ran for 182 yards last week. The Bills gave up 238 rushing yards last week, right? So, I think the big question for all of us fans wondering is like, was last week's offensive performance like a fluke, or was it something that could be sustainable, right? I think it's going to be somewhere in the middle. I'm not expecting them to huck up 32 points again, but I can absolutely see them running the ball very effectively in this game, establishing their identity again. I don't think they have to divert from too much of what they did last week, and I think they could put up 21 to 24 points in this game. I think like last week, there's going to be a lot of critical third and shorts. I just think they need to not be as cute as last week. Like establish your identity and push it, run it under center, like no shotguns on 3rd and 4 or less. Right. That was just one thing I noticed that was just driving me nuts. They have an identity, and I don't like they have the line to be able to say, look, this is what we're going to do, and we're what we're doing, and we're going to run it down your throat. Right. I also think, and this will be a recurring theme soon, that one of the weapons outside of Garrett Wilson, and Breece is going to have to show up. Like it's just a necessity at this point. So Ken Reynolds or Mason Taylor just have a game where they're reliable enough to get the attention off of Garrett and Breece. I think that could be a key in this game offensively. And, if the Jets want a shot to win, we're going to eventually, in a game like this, they're going to need, like, I know he's kind of banged up a little bit, but maybe Mason Taylor, right? He had one catch for like 20 yards last week, I think. And he really wasn't too involved in training camp because I think he was hurt, right? So I think he's going to get better as the season goes along. But, maybe we see, I think this could also be the week that, because of their safeties who did not look good last week, like maybe this is the week that you take that deep shot with Arian Smith, right? If you're going to do it against somebody, do it against the top division rival, right? If you're going to take out some tricks in the bag, I know it's early in the season, but you're talking about the team that you absolutely need to, if you want to have a chance to make the playoffs or you want to have a chance of a good season, like splitting with the Bills would be gravy at this point, right? So, take some tricks out of the bag this week.
You mentioned Reynolds. He popped up on the injury report today. So just something to watch out for there. Be honestly a big hit. You almost wondered, like, does Lazard get in at that point? Which then your wide receiver room kind of looks like a disaster. I kind of said my piece about offense versus defense here, but I think it's pretty straightforward. It reminds me a lot of last week, and especially after watching the game last week, I don't think that you needed a Lamar or Derrick Henry to see how vulnerable that defense was. So they just really need to control the line of scrimmage. And, they controlled the time of possession last week against Pittsburgh. I think they had the ball for 34 minutes against Pittsburgh's like 25. So winning the time of possession and losing the game is always something that's really frustrating. They just need to run it down their throats, though, and really commit to their brand. And I think they'll have a really good shot of at least having a chance to win it at the end. It's just going to be that one big play, that one big turnover. So we'll see what plays out.
We're not really tired of the Jets being that team that like does everything historically correct and loses the game. Yep. Right? Like they're always the first team to do like have this many yards, do this, have this many turnovers, have this no amount of turnovers, wherever, and then lose. Like
I know
it's like they always seem to be that team. So I'm really hoping that eventually they just convert to wins.
By the way, if Josh Reynolds is hurt, his 2 targets going to Allen Lazard doesn't exactly bother me.
I know, but I mean, like for me, like Josh Reynolds is kind of like steady Eddie. Lazard is someone who could have a crucial drop in a big moment. I'm not trying to jinx it or anything.
In that case, though, call up like Brandon Smith, man. Call up geez, I'm forgetting his name right now. Who is this preseason? Yeah, call him up, man. Screw it. Like, I don't want to see Lazard. I don't want to see Lazard. Just put one of these other guys out there instead.
All right, I say we get into who the hell's going to win this game, and who we're taking to cover, and what the over/under is looking like. So, Pat, I'll start with you. Give me your over/under. Give me your spread here. What's going to happen on Sunday?
All right. Well, you guys know me. Like I'm the analytics guy, right? I like try to take the stats on my side, so I'll hit you guys with a few numbers, right? So the Bills have an 11-9 record against the Jets, against the spread against the Jets in their last 20 games or 21 games. 20 games. They're 6-4 in their last 10. When the Jets are the home team, the Bills are 5-5 against the spread. So it's like dead even, right? The Bills have either won by 3 points or lost to the Jets in their last 3 trips to MetLife too, right? So just generally speaking, like especially being at these games too, right? And we're all watching them. Like I think the Jets' first Bills games are either just really tight games that the Jets are right there and they can pull them out, and Josh Allen pulls something out, or just a total blowout where they're just dead in the water and they didn't look like they showed up or anything like that. I don't think that's going to happen this week. Generally speaking, in the Josh Allen era, these have been pretty close games. So and the Jets have always just given him like a pesky time. I know it's a new regime and it's a new defense. I don't know what's going to carry over, but he's always, just had troubles with the Jets defense to a degree. So I like the Jets to narrowly cover the spread. I can't pick them to win. But I will say this. I think that they're going to I know that means I'm picking them to win the Bucks. What I want to say is that I think they're going to split the next 2 games somehow. I just don't know how it's going to end up, but I think they're going to be leaving the next 2 weeks 1-2. So if it doesn't happen this week, it'll be next week. But I think they're going to lose like a close game again, like 23-20. So I'm taking Jets plus 6.5, and I'm taking the under because I think a lot of people are going to take the over this week, and I think that everything's going to regress to the mean a little bit more with the Jets, meaning like the defense is going to hunker down a little bit and play better defense, and then the offense is going to, not play bad, but just not be a juggernaut. So I like 23-20, which is just under 45.5 by a hair.
I could really see, I was looking at this game and I first started off by saying, like, what do I think is going to be the final score of this game? Do I see the Bills getting to 30? And really my answer was yes. I just don't think that it's going to be a quick enough turnaround for them to just figure it all out. I think they gave up 30 in this game. I think they lose the Jets, that is 30-24. So I have them covering that 6.5 mark. I think it is going to be a really close game. I have this going over, obviously, due to the score, just because watching that Sunday night game, their defense doesn't look great. Our defense doesn't look great. And if they can just do what they did last week, I don't see why they can't score 20 plus points. And I think like you'll see me in the future here when we get to our picks. I think Josh Allen's going to throw the ball all over the yard. And it's going to be kind of one of those games where we got to keep up offensively, and we're going to be surprised that we do. And I think we're going to leave week 2 saying, is our offense actually this good? And we're going to have to see improve it week in, week out. So that's my feeling on where the direction is going in this game. And that would be quite the situation to have going into week 3 where your offense has put up, 20 plus points, which for the Jets is like, that would be unheard of. So Tony, I'll pass it to you here. Let's see what your thoughts on your picks here.
Okay. I'm going to sound like a maniac.
Like you did last week, but ended up with a better record than all of us.
Yes. I did pick the Jets to win last week, though, and that didn't happen. So I'm going to fucking do it again, and I'm going to pick the Jets to win 24-23. Would that put 24-23? Okay, so yeah, I'm taking the over 45.5. Jets 24-23 win. Jets plus 6.5, obviously. I don't know, dude. I think we're just like due to beat them, and like it's one of these division rival games. As you guys know from last week, I'm big on vibes, right? Like I can really, I kind of feel the vibes, right? I thought we were going to split with the Bills this season regardless. And I just see us getting our first win this week. I think that with Ed Oliver probably being out, I think he's in a boot. Odds are he's not playing. That's like Quinnen Williams. That's like Quinnen Williams being out for us, right? That he's like an absolute beast. Probably to a little bit of a lesser extent.
Same draft class, right?
Yeah, he was like pick 9. Quinnen was 3.
Yeah.
He was very good out of Houston. Him being out, our offensive line obviously looking like an absolute juggernaut, and the Bills defense not looking that great, mixed with our guys. I don't care that it's a different regime. They're familiar with playing Josh Allen. I think, yes, the scheme obviously had something to do with it, but there is a familiarity there, and he's looked flustered. Like, a good amount of times he's played us. We didn't beat them last year. We beat them in 2023. I think we're due. I think we're due for a division upset. This is going to be Aaron Glenn's first win. Put the friggin' house on it. Jets plus 6.5, though. You don't have to tell my money line bet.
All right. With that being said, a lot of us think the Jets are going to lose here, but have them covering. Let's move into some Jets Bills props. Pat, I'll start with you. Kind of delve into some of your props here that you have for the Jets game.
So my first one is I love this one. Brees over 54.5. I'm especially now with Ed Oliver out. I took this before that was even happening, but if that's a possibility, I think the only way this doesn't hit is if the Jets go down big and they just have to pass it a lot. But Brees made us a lot. Brees made a lot of us naysayers eat their words this weekend. He looked just excellent. He looked like the Brees that we all love. That is like just gonna rip a. He could rip a 70-yard run off again. I'm just taking Brees till the wheels fall off, man. I love that bet. My second one, I'm betting it because again, good. This is a little bit good vibes, but Josh Allen to throw an interception, it's plus 100. Jets should have had some turnovers last weekend, right? I mean, while Josh is great, like I said, he's prone to interceptions. He's thrown 11 interceptions in 13 career games against the Jets. They have come in bunches. He's only thrown in 6 games, and they've been multiple, but he hasn't thrown one in the last 2 games against the Jets. So I feel like he's kind of due. So I think this is one of those things where, again, he's going to give you a ball, and I think they're going to put an emphasis on it this week in practice, right? They're going to catch one of these balls this week and get an interception. So Josh Allen to throw an interception plus 100. And Mason Taylor over 21.5 receiving yards, minus 115. Again, I like this one because I think like I said before, if the Jets want to keep this one close, someone's got to get involved. And, Taylor, like we said before, he's going to get a little bit more involved as this year goes on. Like, he's a rookie tight end, and it takes a little bit for these guys to get going unless you're like Brock Bowers or Tyler Warren. But the targets have to be there for him, right? Especially if like Reynolds is maybe banged up, right? Or, they got to bring Lazard in. That just means they're going to get the tight ends more involved. I didn't really see a lot of rollouts last week either, from what I recall. I mean, I was under the influence of the game, but I didn't see them do a lot of roll-offs and, rollouts and dump-offs.
Roll-offs. You are a garbage guy at heart.
There you go. Right. So I like him to get more than 21 yards this week because I think he's going to get more than one target this week. So
yeah, he's also probably going to get incorporated more into the offense as the
right.
Time
He has a slow start because I think he missed time in training camp, and he is a rookie and he's got to get acclimated and all that. But
yeah,
he has to, but like they really don't have the weapons on the offense not to get him involved. And again, there's a week of tape on Engstrand and his how he plays how he does play calling now, right? So they're going to try and shut Garrett down a little bit more. They're going to have to get somebody else involved now. So I really like the only one it's kind of a toss up there to me is Josh Allen. And it's not even like if he gives you an interceptable ball. It's if they catch the fucking ball that is given to them. So other than that, I feel really good about those props. I'm putting 25 on each one. I forgot to mention that we're, what we're putting on everything.
Tony, you could take it here.
Okay. I predicted they won, so I had to get pretty friggin' weird with this. Dominate the line of scrimmage to get there, but I have Justin Fields 2+ passing touchdowns at plus 251. I think he's going to turn the ball over once, but I think he's going to get 2 passing touchdowns.
He should have had 2 last week. Not for nothing.
He should have. And you know what, man? I'm buying into him. I know it was only 1 week. That was some of the best quarterbacking I've seen since, I don't know, maybe a game that Aaron Rodgers had that I'm forgetting because that season sucked. But I was very impressed, and I'm going to ride that into this game. Bills defense, again, they're not going to get after him. Joey Bosa doesn't scare me against our tackles. I think he's going to have all day to throw, and I think he's going to throw the damn ball. 2+ touchdowns, one of which I have going to Garrett Wilson again. Garrett Wilson doesn't score that many touchdowns, at least in his career thus far. He doesn't. I don't think he's surpassed 4 in a season, and I think this is the season where he's going to get I'm going to say 7 to 8 touchdowns.
That'd be so
He just
nice.
got paid. I think this is going to be the year he kind of opens it up and starts scoring the ball. And I think it's a mixture of his college quarterback being Justin Fields and them clearly having chemistry. That was understated too. I underestimated the amount of chemistry those two have. They're boys, which is pretty cool. So I think he's going to go off. And Garrett Wilson scoring, plus 205. I kind of like the odds there. So I think he's going to score one of those. And to keep it kind of in the same family, I mean, if he's going to throw 2+ touchdowns, why not? 220+ passing yards. It's not asking for a lot. I mean, it's a pretty standard amount of yards to pass the ball in a game where hopefully you're competitive. So, and I have them being competitive. So, I mean, if they're going to do that, 220 is not too much to ask for. That is at plus 211. I'm throwing $25 on each of these props like Pat. And yeah, I mean, damn, I have the Jets. I have the Jets playing out of their minds on Sunday. We'll see if that happens.
Would be nice. I'm also going to throw 25 on everything because, again, very frugal. I like some of these. So I did a Braylon anytime touchdown last week. I'm going to do Brees this week at plus 130. Like him to get in the end zone. Braylon's time was last week. Now it's Brees's time this week. Like I said before, I have Josh Allen throwing all over the yard. Aaron Rodgers threw for 245, I think, last week against this defense. I think Josh Allen's going to surpass that. I like Josh Allen over 240 plus at plus 118. The Brees Hall touchdown anytime was plus 130. So getting those at plus money, as much as I hate to admit it, I really do think that Josh Allen is going to throw a lot of yards. Probably could even eclipse 300. And I liked any team to score 30+ points at minus 105. Obviously, I have the Bills scoring 30. I think someone's getting to 30. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the Bills. So I honestly really like all three of those and feel a little bit more confident in these three than I did in my 3 last week. So, I think we all had some pretty good props there.
I mean, you're going to get some positive regression this week, Joey.
Oh, yeah? You think?
I think so. That's how gambling works, man.
Yeah. All right. We'll see. So that kind of wraps up the Jets talk. Let's move on to some NFL picks here. Do we want to just go all three again or all the first two, and then do you want to go one by one?
Let's do one by one.
All right. Let's do one by one. We'll start it with Pat and keep the trend going. Start with some NFL picks. Pat, who are you looking at around the league here?
All right.
Some of your favorites.
I like Panthers.
You love the Panthers, dude. You're a closet Panthers fan.
Well, if you like a team, you can't give up on them after week 1, right? So I like them plus 6.5 at Arizona, right? Arizona covered last week, but Kyler Murray does not do well against the spread as a market favorite. He's 14-19, and he's 5-8 when the line is between 3.5 and 6.5, minus 3.5, minus 6.5 as a market favorite, right? So again, this is one of those games last year when the Panthers had a resurgence. They beat them in overtime in a total shootout. It was like 36-30. So I'm not saying they're going to win, but I don't think they should have an issue staying within 6.5 points. And I saw this on BetMGM. This is a crazy thing that Carolina falls into this like betting system with this game. So since 2004, conference road dogs are 45-10 against the spread in games 2-13, assuming 3 factors, right? The spread falls between plus 2.5 and plus 13.5. The team's Pythagorean win percentage falls between 4.4% and 12.3%.
I don't even know what that means.
And the favorite has 7 days between games. And when those dogs fall between plus 5.5 and plus 7, they're 13-2 against the spread. So shout out at MGM. Like I could never, I don't know how they find that, but this is a historically good scenario for the Panthers. So
historically good, according to Pythagorean himself.
Exactly. So I like that one. Am I giving my other one? Or are we going?
We're going one by one.
Okay, got it.
Tony, why don't you go?
All right. What do I want to start with? I'll go with my. I mean, he just whipped out the Pythagorean theorem. I'll go with my spicy one. I think this is going to sound crazy on paper, but I'm taking the Saints to beat the 49ers. I think Mac Jones, is one of the worst starting quarterbacks. He's going up against this game's a pick'em. Like I was looking at this, I was like, what the hell am I looking at? I don't know. The Niners don't really impress me. I don't have any crazy stats, dude. I just saw this as a toss-up game. I thought it was too funny, and I just had to go with the Saints money line over the Niners. I have a feeling it's going to happen. Mac Jones is absolutely terrible. 49ers are just banged up in general, and I think this is an opportunity for Kellen Moore to get his first win as Saints head coach. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling spicy. Saints money line. 49ers, and it's guess what the odds are. I just want you guys to take a guess on this. What to win?
I mean, I just looked at it, so I'm not going to guess.
Plus 150,
142.
Like not bad.
It's insane. I love it.
So I'll keep on the same trend. I was actually going to go with my other pick, but since you just mentioned this game, number one, I don't think it's crazy to take Saints money line because of Mac Jones starting. I think 40.5 for the under in this game is just like an absolute layup.
Could go over. I
mean, seriously, I really don't think this game gets past like a 17-13 type of ball game. It's just Spencer Rattler, Mac Jones. Oh, it reeks of an under to me. So I like that pick there to go. I'm hammering the under. I've literally.
You're lame, dude. I'm going over on that game.
Are you really?
I don't have it down here, dude. For the same reason I went
guess.
over last week with the Jets game, I'm going to hammer just because you said that. That is an over bet for me. That game's going to smash this. Dude, Rattler and Mac Jones are going to be slinging it around and the Saints win.
I think as long as McCaffrey's on the field, they're going to be fine. That's my opinion. I think they're going to cover and win the game pretty easily, but I didn't pick that one at all. That's the game I'm not touching, but that's a fun one to pick because if you're watching that game, it'll be exciting. My next pick was I'm going over 43.5 in Tampa Bay, Houston. The Texans are home after a West Coast trip where they only scored 9 points last week. So, I think Vegas is probably down on them a little bit, but I expect them to bounce back against Tampa, who's also, they know how to score points too. They didn't really have a great week last week. I think they scored like 23. So I could see this being like a shootout. I like this. That's why I like the over. I think there are two offenses that will get clicking again this week.
All right, Tony. One of your other bets?
Yeah, I got you. I'm going to go the over in Bears at Lions. It's at -112. This is going to be a fun one, right? You got Ben Johnson going up against his mentor, Dan Campbell. I think he's going to fucking bring out the bag of tricks, and I think they're both going to. I think they're going to try to trade haymakers in this game. Division rivalry game. You have an offensive coordinator that left to coach the previous team, who's this so-called offensive guru. I didn't see it last week, but I can't tell with Ben Johnson, guys. I'm not gonna lie. He's either Adam Gase or he's like a really good offensive mind, but it's just not often that these like weird cats like work out as head coach, right? Mike McDaniel failed. Adam Gase failed. I don't know. But this game specifically, I think they're going to be going at it, and he's going to try to open up what looked like a stagnant Bears offense. I mean, Caleb Williams looked like Zach Wilson at times to me, but I think he's going to turn it around. This game's going to slam the over, and they're going to be trading punches in this game. Bears at Lions over 46.5.
This next pick by me is sponsored by Survivor Pools, because when I was looking at it, I'm like, I can't imagine taking this team this week, and it's, you guys might laugh, but I don't like the Rams Titans game, but I like the Titans covering at home plus 5.5. It screams to me choke job by the Rams. It really does. I could just see them going into Tennessee, and it's one of those ugly games. So I like that at -12. Not too much rationale, just more looking at a survivor aspect. And my buddy asked me, "Do you like the Rams?" And I said, "Actually, I really don't like the Rams this week, even though their head coach doesn't know that an elbow counts as 2 feet." So I don't know if you guys saw that. Pretty pathetic.
Brian Callahan is his name, right?
Yeah.
That guy's a joker, dude. What the hell?
He is a joker, but I'm picking his team to cover this week. So
that's
a classic coach for us, man.
That's a classic. His dad was. That's a classic. He's going to get fired, and another coach. They're going to try to attract another coach with Cam Ward.
Yeah, that very well may be the case, but also, you look at them throwing punches with Denver in Denver last week. That impressed me.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
Cam looked really good last week, and his receivers were
Yeah.
dropping passes.
Yeah.
But man, he looked really good in my
I
opinion.
agree.
I
really
wish
agree.
we did what we had to do to get him, but Fields is the guy now.
So it looks like Tony put in one more allotted pick here. Tony, I guess just do it. Me and Pat had more props, I think, than you did. So
Yeah,
what's your last?
I'll go in the next go.
Okay. All right, then let's go picks of the week. Pat, I'll start with you.
All right. Pick of the week for me, Broncos -2.5 at Indy. Daniel Jones, obviously, he impressed last week against the Dolphins, but that was the Dolphins, right? And they're a total shit show right now. In his last 6 starts against a spread of +3.5 or shorter, he is 0-6 with 5 losses by 20 or more points. And again, from a football standpoint, man, the Broncos defense is just much better than Miami's. They're going to make 1 or more turnovers in this game. I love Denver. I think Denver's going to blow them out. And again, this is one of those week 1 lying to you about the Colts. I'm not buying it at all. I'm happy for Daniel Jones that he's out of the Giants and he's looking a little bit better. But this is a classic week 1. Like Denver's a much better team and they're just going to stomp on them. Here's a stat for you. Since 2003, dogs coming off a win by 21 or more points, because Indy was a dog last week. Dogs coming off a win by 21 or more points are 16, 34, and 2 against the spread in games 2 to 4. And when those dogs are priced at +3 or shorter, they are 5 and 23 against the spread. So this is sniffing to be a freaking regress to the mean blowout for the Broncos to just smack the Colts around. So pick of the week for me, absolutely.
Yeah, nothing like,
it.
Fuck Daniel Jones.
All right, Tony, you can go next.
Okay, my pick of the week. I hate putting money on the New England Patriots, but it's a little better if they're facing the Dolphins. I hate the Patriots more, but they're like +1.5 in this game. I could have put them as my dog, but I have a more exciting pick for that. They're +1.5 at Miami, -120, and I actually have reasoning for this one. Miami called a players only meeting after week 1 in the NFL season, and JJ Watt had a nice quote. The second that you call a players only meeting, you might as well pack your bags for Aruba, right? The season's over at that point. And we've seen it here. We've seen it elsewhere, dude.
I'm about to say, what happened to us when the Jets called players only meetings? They only got stomped even more, right?
They would talk about how they're going to get their
James
ass
might not be
harder.
the coach by the time the Jets play Miami, which is crazy.
Real possibility,
dude. Fun fact: who's the last interim head coach for the Miami Dolphins that we have faced? The Jets. Dan Campbell. That's right.
Wow.
I don't even know if that's facts, but we definitely did face him, and he was their interim. So New England +1.5 at Miami. I just think Miami's cooked, dude. They have like weird
fake fun facts, by the way.
I think it's true. Someone
okay, it's true. All right, I'll give you that.
Someone fact check me. Holy jump scare, Joey without glasses. New England, I think they're going to try to bounce back. I think Mike Vrabel is a good head coach, and I think Drake May is going to be a solid quarterback. I just think they had a poor outing last week. We'll see. I like McDaniels as an offensive coordinator. I think they're going to figure it out at some point. And Miami's just they disgust me in every way. They give such bad vibes. Old team, immature coach. The coach is a weirdo, in fact. And Pat's right. I don't even think he's going to be the fucking coach when we play him. So I'm going to take New England +1.5 versus Miami. And I would take the money line, but I'll take them +1.5.
All right, so I'm moving. I'm a little salty. I am, but it's not really the reason why I'm picking this game. I like Seattle to cover the +3 at Pittsburgh. I think it's going to be a pretty disastrous matchup for Pittsburgh. I think their defense is a little bit tougher. You're not going to face the Jets defense like you did in week 1 every week where Brandon Stevens is falling over the yard and you get the easy completions. So I think Sammy D has a nice bounce back week. I know he threw no touchdowns, no picks in his first week, kind of forcing it to JSN. But I think this is a really weird matchup for Pittsburgh. And I'm very intrigued to see, like, can Rodgers do it against their defense? Not that he was, like, super impressive against us, but he made the throws that he needed to make and ultimately beat us. But +3, I like Seattle to cover and possibly win. I think I could picture them winning, and that's kind of why I took the spread here at +3. So
the only thing that scares me about that game is home opener for Pittsburgh and West Coast team coming, on a 1:00 game. That like they generally don't. I don't have any stats to back this one up. I'm just going off my own intuition, but they generally don't fare well. But I hope for the love of God that Sammy comes out and kicks the shit out of Aaron Rodgers.
yeah, I have a buddy at work who's a Seahawks fan, and I'm like, for the love of, like you said.
Random question. How did he look last week?
He didn't have any touchdowns or picks. He was supposedly
JSN with targets.
Yeah, he was like pelting JSN with targets. From my Seahawks friend.
So he played terribly. 150 yards for.
He said it was just he didn't look very. He pretty much the way he put it to me was he looked uncomfortable on a new offense. Okay, so
fair.
So AKA bad, but that was the pick of the week. Now we're gonna do, what is it? Prop of the week. Prop of the week. All right, let's do prop of the week. Pat, you could start again.
I picked 2, and I'm just in heavy debate about which one to go with here.
Why don't you just throw them both, right?
No, I mean, I gotta, you gotta pick one, right? I'm gonna stick with. So just so you guys all know, I was in between Lamar Jackson over 45.5 rushing yards versus the Browns and Daniel Jones to throw an interception. I'm going with Daniel Jones throwing an interception. Like I said, like Brown's stout defense. There's no way this guy. He's just not good. Like he's gonna throw an interception against.
There's no stats to back this one up.
No, I just think it's Daniel Jones, man, and he's playing the best defense in the league. I think he's gonna throw a pick.
All right. Stat of the
reason I didn't pick Lamar had a little bit more statistics. Like he averages 57.5 rushing yards against the Browns when he plays them. His last 5 games was 63, 46, 41, 27, and 59. So like he's hit it like 3.5 times. 3 out of 5 times, I mean. But I would like my odds a little bit more of Daniel Jones throwing an interception.
Just Daniel Jones ass.
Yeah. So that's my prop of the week.
I like it. My prop of the week, I got spicy with this one, and this is just purely me feeling frisky. I just am betting on Trevor Lawrence to throw 3 touchdowns this week. It's plus 395. He's going up against the Bengals defense. I have them here. Guys, can you please name me the Bengals starting corners?
Oh my God, you love
making us every week. You've been making us try to name random corners, dude. I don't know
because it works. I'm keeping up with my.
2 weeks ago was, guys, can you name the Saints starting corners? No, dude, I can't.
No, I can't.
Kool-Aid McKinstry. Now I know.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just educating.
I guess we're just gonna
Cam Taylor, Britt, DJ Turner the second, and Dax Hill in the slot. I don't know.
Is Dax Hill from Michigan?
I think so.
I remember we wanted him.
All right, so they got a good slot guy. I'm picking Trevor Lawrence to throw 3+ touchdowns. It's plus 395. I think the Bengals defense is so fucking bad, dude. And for some reason, Trevor Lawrence is one of those QBs. I always just I think he's good. I don't know. I think he's flat out pretty good.
It's pretty good.
He was a Jet for like that whole, for 15 weeks of the season when we were tanking.
It's maybe because I delusioned myself for 14 weeks that he was a Jet.
When I think of Trevor Lawrence, I very clearly think of the Rams uniforms. That's it.
The Rams?
The Rams
because of when the Jets beat them.
Well, don't forget, they also beat the Browns because the Browns' entire receiver room got COVID. Do you remember that?
Yes, but the Rams were first. So
yeah, I mean, but it's so underrated. We beat the fucking Browns next week. We wouldn't have gotten them regardless.
Well, that's neither here nor there.
Yes,
and he probably would have failed horribly with us. So
no, I think he would have been fine. This is such a all right.
Whatever. That's So I actually had 2. Same with Pat. I got to pick one, and it's actually I had a Cowboy in here, and I'm actually picking someone else over a Cowboy. I like AJ Brown to have 70+ receiving yards at plus 104 after getting 1 target last week. If you don't think that this is just such a classic game where AJ Brown doesn't get it, and the media is like, "Oh my God!" Blah, blah, blah. He very well may go for like 150 yards and 2 touchdowns this game. But I'm being safe here, and I like the odds at plus 104 and over 70 yards receiving. So that guy's going to get his at some point, and that little trend of one target's not going to continue.
I like it.
He's too important. And then let's finish it up. Dog of the week, Pat. Who's your dog of the week?
Eagles are plus 1.5 at Kansas City.
Perfect transition.
They were 4-0 against the spread last year as an underdog. And I just think they're the better team, man. Like their defense allowed 22 points in the Super Bowl last year when they played, and that came in garbage time. Like they just smacked them around last time they played. I'm sure Kansas City's going to come out with some vengeance, and I like the Chiefs this year. But I think we'll see if Xavier Worthy plays, but if he doesn't, even if he does, he's going to be a little hurt, right? They're kind of banged up at the receiver position, where that's kind of a weakness I think for the Eagles was their secondary going into the season. So, anytime I could take the Eagles with points right now, I'm going to do it, even if it's 1.5, because I think they're going to win the game. So, technically they're an underdog here. So I'm taking the defending Super Bowl champions as the underdog of the week.
Tony, dog of the week.
Dog of the week. I'm taking my guys, the Las Vegas Raiders and Geno Smith outright versus the Los Angeles Chargers on Monday Night Football. It's a game that I probably will not be watching because I'll be.
Is that the late game?
That's the late game, dude. It's at 10. Yeah, I'm gonna be dead asleep probably by the time this game starts, which sucks. But
oh my god, the Mets.
What happened? Mets? Okay.
Continue.
Ball knowers know, man. Geno Smith's a fucking baller. That dude, who's there? Chip Kelly has my boy Geno dialed right now, dude. He had 362 yards last week.
Did he actually?
Yeah.
I didn't know his stat line.
For 362 yards. And one man, they did me right last week, so I'm going to take them again. I think they're going to beat the Chargers. The Chargers also did me right last week too, though. They beat the
Chargers balled. Yeah, that was huge for you.
That was huge. So
that kicked off your week pretty much.
It did. However, I have to betray my beloved Chargers, and I'm sticking with the fucking Raiders, dude. I love the Raiders. Take them money line. Trust me, it's plus 154. I'm gonna throw $50 on that right there.
Love it. I actually really like that pick. Going to another pick, I feel like this team's getting slept on. I really like Tampa outright, plus 114 over at Houston. I just think that and then now they got the kid from Ohio State, the Ibuka kid, who I was in between him and I wanted him. I'm not even going to get into it in my fantasy sleeper in my keeper draft, and I took Travis Hunter over him.
Ugh.
That's a whole different conversation, but I really do feel like Tampa's getting a little slept on. They had a slow start last week, and I feel like Houston's a bit overrated in my opinion. I'm not too scared of them. I like Tampa outright against them. Their offense is gonna get cooking now. I think Godwin's coming back this week too, so that's just another weapon to deal with there. So
I like it.
Well, we had so many comments, so appreciate that.
How many viewers on YouTube? I'm curious. Just say it.
We've been up and down. But
Twitter was mildly successful.
Not bad.
Listen, it's like a YouTube video, dude. This shit stacks up afterwards. We had 380 live views. That's pretty solid.
Mets watched they just blew a 4-0 lead. So
is it 4-4?
No, it's 6-4.
They're losing.
Correct.
Well, anyways, if you are here, go follow us there on Twitter. We post graphics.
We have the Packers game too, so we just
Packers game 7-0 Packers 7-0. Right now.
All right.
We got about 14 minutes. Jaden Daniels, of course, because I picked him in fantasy. Looks like Zach Wilson. Yeah, but that's how it goes. So if you're here, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next week on